Hi, my name is Samantha Creel. This is my video speech assignment on how virtual and digital communication causes conflicts between social groups. These are my 3 note cards, 50 words per card. And with that, let's begin. Communication is the process of acting on information. If someone does or says something, it triggers a response, and that can be an action, a word, or a thought. Our world evolves around convenience, which means communication has never been more important. It's easy now to use communication in almost every aspect of our lives. If you want to go get something to eat, but don't want to go anywhere, you can get an Uber Eats. If you need to go somewhere but don't have a car, you can get a Lyft. These are both apps that you can download on your phone where you can communicate with those drivers and they'll bring you food or they can take you anywhere that you want. Almost everything that we do in our lives is surrounded by some form of communication, and now more than ever, that communication is digital or virtual. Digital communication can be categorized in emails, phone calls, text messages, and any other form of communication virtually, and that can also mean Instagram, Facebook, and any other social media platform. And while these platforms of communication bring similarity between social groups, it can also be a hindrance. In our texts, we learned that while communicating, we receive and send messages simultaneously. During this process, it's easy to misconstrue information, especially virtually. The easiest thing to misinterpret are symbols while conversing with one another. Symbols are our gestures while we speak, the tone of voice that we use, and also our posture. These things all come together to bring the essential tools we need to converse with each other. These symbols can also be easily hidden because we aren't face-to-face with the person that we're speaking to. Many times, I've misunderstood text messages, and especially text messages, because I can't hear their voice, leading me to believe that someone might be uninterested in speaking with me, upset with me. This is one of the leading conflicts virtual communication brings to people. Some people are good at getting their point across online and have no issues, but other people, like myself, aren't able to. Because we send and receive messages through communication, misunderstandings happen very easily. The virtual world is convenient. It's fast, it's efficient, which is how our society is working right now. But we're humans with emotions. You can't send emotions virtually. Without the signals that guide us through social interaction, how can you have a true conversation? Do you really know the person that you're talking to, how they feel? Do you know if they're really checked into your conversation that you're having at the moment? Or are they just listening to you blankly while painting their nails? You don't know, because there is no face-to-face interaction. Some people like the virtual communication. They like the fact that they don't feel the need to respond immediately to a text message or a phone call. I can be like that too. Some people don't like to converse with anyone at all. It can be tricky, especially when people from different generations try to communicate with each other. But with time, our society depends on virtual communication, so it can get easier. I chose this topic because digital communication is a prominent way of connecting with our world. Though there are conflicts, this type of communication has brought new horizons for everyone. You can communicate with someone thousands of miles away, or even someone from a different country. It's opened doors to new cultures and lifestyles people have never heard of before. For me, as an example, I've always wanted to go to Japan ever since I was young. I've always been attracted to their culture, their food, their way of life, and the respect that they have towards everything. And honestly, I feel like we can take on a few things that they do, but that's for a different conversation. Without digital communication, though, I wouldn't have been able to meet the people that do live there right now. And without their experiences, without their influence, I wouldn't feel more passionate about going there. And maybe when I do finally take the chance and the time to visit, I'll have a small degree of understanding how things operate over there. Now, there are many pros to virtual communication. However, being a person that relies on symbols while communicating, mixed with anxiety and overthinking, it's easy for me to misinterpret conversation, especially while texting. A great example of this was when I got my associate's degree. I texted a picture of it to my dad, and I was excited. I was waiting for him to reply, and when he did reply, all he said was, "Great," with a period. When someone that doesn't know my dad would read that, they would think it's emotionless, unenthusiastic, and uninterested. But because I know my dad, that's just how he texts. So you just have to know people when you're texting, and that's another issue that you can have with virtual communication, because again, you can't hear the tone of voice, can't see the gestures. Obviously, I know my dad would have had an excited face while he's texting, but it just doesn't relay that through the text message. This is just another example of how easy it is to misinterpret conversations digitally. Now, with everything mentioned in mind on how conflict can arise through virtual communication, do you choose to communicate virtually or face to face? Thank you.